Good evening, America. I am Eric Little. It is the 7th day of October 2020. It is National Coffee with a Cop Day. And considering the relations between the police and particularly minority communities, maybe we should take them up on that. 27 days left until the end of the general election, and there are 0 days. Tonight is the vice presidential debate. I'm near my home in Southern California this evening, and this is the plain truth. I want to be in the NBA. Do I want to get up every morning and shoot 1,000 jump shots? No, I don't want to do that. Do I want to run 10 miles a day to be in the kind of shape it would take to play in the NBA? No, I don't want to do any of that. Do I want to study film for hours and hours on end on my opponents? No. Do I want to go to camps to learn from former NBA players to get better? I don't want to do that. I don't want to do any of that. I just want to be in the NBA. That's what we have as president right now. He just wants to be president. He doesn't want to put in the work. Do I want to meet with the people on the other side of the aisle to build consensus for bills that would help the American? No, I don't want to do that. Do I want to, pass bills that would help the American people and study what it would do? No, I don't want to do that. Do I want to study tax codes to see what's, I don't want to do any of that. I just want to be president. That's where we are now. He has no idea. He has no plans. Do you want to work on COVID and, make more people? I don't want to do that. I just want to be president. I just want to fly around on Air Force One. I want to fly around on Marine One. He doesn't want to actually do the work. That's one of the reasons we're in the situation now. It would have been hard work to get the coronavirus down. Now he just throws money at companies that, and say, make me a vaccine, and then sit around and do nothing and wait for it. There's nothing wrong with trying to develop a vaccine, but by the same token, you have to do something until then. It would have been hard work to build a consensus. It would have been hard work to use the Defense Production Act to its entirety and force companies by rule of law that, hell, you're making masks from now on, you're making reagents from now on, you're making scrubs from now on, and that's all you're doing. That would have been hard work. That would have involved actually governing. But I don't want to do any of that. I just want to be president. That's the problem. Even look at his debate prep. He just wanted to just interrupt Joe Biden as much as possible. I'm just going to holler at him and we'll see what happens. That's not the work it takes to be president. See, this is how he's handled his whole life. Somebody else does the work. He slaps his name on it and said, look what I created. Trump Tower, it wasn't built for Trump. It was something else. He bought it and slapped his name on it and said, look how great my building is. That's what he's done his whole life. He hasn't actually built anything. He has this reputation, though. He's a great builder. He hasn't built anything. Somebody else has done it. He slapped his name on it. When Obama and Biden took over in 2008, they inherited an economy that was shedding 800,000 jobs a month. The unemployment rate was over 10. They worked like the devil to get it down to 8, down to 6, down to 5.3. They handed it to him. It was already on the way down. He didn't do anything. It kept going down. He slapped his name on it and said, hey, I've created the greatest economy of all time. He didn't do anything. He does what he always does, just slap his name on it and take credit for it. He stood on the shoulders of genius and took credit. That's what he always done. But when it came time to actually do the hard work of being president, when a virus came around that needed a president to take control and say, here, I'm president, here's what I'm gonna do. He knew it was dangerous back in January 28th. On February 7th, he told Bob Woodward, look, this is dangerous, this is killing people, it doesn't matter if you're old, you're young, whatever it is. He knew. But what would have taken? It would have taken hard work. He's not gonna do that, right? It wasn't impossible. He said, well, I didn't want to panic people. I didn't want to get on TV screaming, death, death. That's not what anybody asked you to do. We asked you to sit behind a Resolute desk. Tell all the networks I need to block off 15 minutes on a Tuesday night and say, listen, I don't want you to panic, but there's a deadly disease that's come over here from China. So this is going to disrupt our lives for a while. I'm going to need you to wear a mask. We're going to be in production to make as many masks as possible. But I'm going to need you to wear these when you're not around people you live with for the next 6 months. I'm going to need you to stay 6 feet apart from anybody whenever you can. I'm going to need you to cancel large gatherings. I'm going to need you to stay indoors for 21 days. While we get a handle on this. Don't panic, but this is something we need to do together. We need to all be in this. Now, how hard was that? And then actually go out and do the work that's necessary to do. Now, you have this vice presidential debate that probably shouldn't be happening because I believe Pence was in too close contact with Trump, but they're far apart and they put up plexiglass, and so we're going to try to get through this. But the reality is, and I don't know who the host is tonight, and it's a town hall, but the reality is, one thing I hope, and I know Kamala Harris is really good at prosecuting a case, but I really hope that she reminds people of who this guy is, who Mike Pence is. He's not just don't let him hide behind Donald Trump's skirt. You need to take responsibility for what you've done. I know vice presidential debates are normally about making it about the guy at the top, and she needs to do that too. But she also needs to remind people of who he is. He was the guy in charge of the coronavirus task force. You know, the one that let 211,000 people die, that one. She needs to remind the country that the #1 job of vice president is to be ready to be president should something happen. Remind them this is a guy who ran Indiana's economy in the toilet by giving all the tax breaks to the rich people. She needs to remind people that this guy is a guy who said you can cure gay people by sending them to a camp. We haven't forgotten who you are. You know, that's I think the biggest takeaway from tonight as a vice presidential debate is remind everybody who the potential president could be. Remember, Donald Trump has COVID. You know, all these ridiculous tweets he's coming up with, you know, he's on steroids, he's manic, he's, you know, everybody's infected over there. She needs to bring that point up too. Who's running the country? He's infected, Pence is out on the campaign trail, all the chief of staff, everybody in the White House infected, is now infected the military, the joint chiefs of staff, they're all quarantining. Who's running the country? You know, he's partially responsible. I know Donald Trump is president, but as vice president, you have to be able to be in a room with somebody that you can say no to sometime. One of the things Barack Obama told Joe Biden when he asked him to be his vice president, and Joe Biden then turned around and said the same thing to Kamala Harris, is, I need you to be the last voice in the room with me before I make a decision. Basically, if I'm about to do something that you don't agree with, I need to hear from you. I don't need you to be a yes man like Pence. Oh, dear leader, you're the greatest thing. It's because of you I can pee in the middle of the night. I don't need that. I need somebody to say, look, I don't agree with this. And here's why. Here's what I think is going to happen if you do X, Y, and Z. Now, if you still want to do it, you're president, I can't stop you, but I'm not just going to go along with everything you say because you're president. You need somebody in that room who will say, look, don't do that. And not only just say don't do it, but be able to articulate why. Donald Trump doesn't have that in this guy, and that's why he's running amok and doing all these crazy things, this presidential drive-by and this going home after 3 days in the hospital. That's because he has nobody there to say, dude, don't do that. Don't come back and make everybody in the White House contagious because you won't stay in the hospital. You need somebody that, you know, I always tease people that say, you ever notice that people who live alone like slowly start to go crazy? Because they're like, oh, I wonder what happens if I throw a match into an oven that's already on 450. You need somebody standing around to go, dude, don't do that. You know, and he doesn't have anybody. There's nobody around to tell the emperor he has no clothes. And that is the plain truth, as I see it. And I am Eric Little. Good night.